Welcome back. Now this part we're going to create a bootable USB and boot.wim that we've added all the drivers to. There's one extra thing we need to do to that, because if we don't tweak it, it'll just immediately start setup, and what we want to do is to be able to do a variety of things, select the image, connect to the server, all sorts of things like that. So I've tweaked it by altering startnet.cmd to do this. So it's now going to look for a drive on the USB which has a directory called images in it, and is going to change directory to there and then run menu. Now menu can be anything you want it to be. For instance, if you don't boot off the network but you just boot off USBs, you can, in menu, connect to the share that has all the golden image, the master images in it, CD to it, and run setup, and bingo, you'll get the image you want. In this situation, I'm just going to put everything on the USB because that's well, another approach. And to do that, we're going to use DiskPart. So DiskPart now I've plugged the USB we're going to use in it, so you should be able to see it. Yeah, there it is. So it's only got 32 gigs, this one. It says 28, but it was 32 gigs on the packet, and that's not big enough to put the master image that you know, I talked about in the first video. So we're just going to put an ordinary Windows 10 ISO on it. So we're going to select, well, first of all I'll give you a rough overview of what we're going to do, and that is we're going to create two partitions. The first one is going to be FAT32, because UEFI and Legacy can both boot from FAT32. Legacy can also use NTFS, but just to make it universal, we'll go FAT32. Now the problem with FAT32 is you can't have a file system that's bigger than about 28 gigs. So that's not big enough for the images that we're going to need. So what we're going to do is create a second partition that's going to be NTFS, which allows much bigger partitions. And another problem with FAT32 is it won't allow files that are bigger than 4 gigs. So that's going to be another problem. So to do this, first of all, we're just going to clean it. So we select this disk, so select disk 1, and then we'll clean it. That's to remove anything that might have been on it before. And now we're going to create the first partition. And we only need it big enough to store boot.wim and a few other things, so 1 gig is plenty. Okay, so we're going to select that partition, and going to make it active. Now that, you'll have to Google it and look at some Microsoft documentation, makes it bootable, provided it has the other bits and pieces it needs to boot. But that's the trick, and the next thing to do is format it. Format, as I said, FAT32, and quick. That was quick. Well, it's only very small. Next thing to do is to assign it a drive letter so we can actually see it. Do that with a sign, and that should be it. So let's have a look with File Manager. Okay, right, have a look with File Manager, and we've got a USB drive G, nothing on it yet. So I'm just going to rename that so that so there's no confusion. And then we'll go back into DiskPart and create the second partition. So DiskPart, select disk 1. Don't need to clean it this time, so we're going to create another one, but we're not going to specify the size this time. So it's going to use the rest of the USB size. Okay, select partition. It's going to be 2, and format it. File system equals NTFS. Quick. Okay. Now, as before, we're going to assign it a drive letter so we can use it. Exit. And then we'll have a look in File Manager at the next one. Okay, exit. There we go. So we've got boot, and now we've got another one. Funny enough, it's called F. Well, who knows? It's got a mind of its own, hasn't it? And we're going to call this images. We'll do all in capitals. And that's where we're going to store the master images. Right, so in here we have USB boot. So now we'll copy the files to the boot partition. So we copy all of these. Right, and so you can see the Microsoft Boot Manager and Boot Manager EFI, that's the UEFI version. So it's going to go both Legacy and UEFI. That's fine. Now also in here there's images. Now this is the one that's going on the second one. Notice it was going to search for the directory images. So we do need that. Copy and put it on the images one. Here we go. Next thing is we need to add a master image to images. So get that off the server. There's one, so I'm going to copy that one. It's actually only quite small, that one. As I say, it's not the full master image, it's just an install. And we're going to put that on images here. Okay, so that's going to take a while, so I'll pause the recording. Okay, so that's it finished. So let's just summarize what we've got here. So in here we have a standard setup for Windows 10. And we have the menu command, the menu script, which is going to run when startnet finishes. Now startnet doesn't need to be here actually. That's just delete that. Startnet is embedded in the boot.wim using DISM. I showed you startnet earlier. Now in the boot partition, we've got auto run, we don't need that either, but we've got these Boot Manager Legacy and EFI, and in sources we've got the boot.wim that we've been adding drivers to. That's all. Right, so we're ready to boot. So I'll stop the video now and boot it. So I've now switched to the test machine. I've put the USB in it, and you can see this particular machine actually can do Legacy and UEFI at the same time. So let's just try UEFI. Okay, you can see there's a problem with the UEFI display driver. That should show a Dell logo. and it's now loading. Hasn't found any problems, so it's now loading the boot image off the USB into memory with bootmanager.EFI. I'll pause it here because nothing terribly interesting here. So here's the WinPE environment starting up. Now it's going to run the startnet.cmd script, and it's initializing the environment, loading all the drivers, and searching for, and when it's done that, it'll search for the drive with images on it, which it's done, and run menu. And now this menu allows you to install, update, check for updates, and look at logs, exit to DOS, the whole, anything you like. You can always add more menu options if you want. Now we're going to install the standard, that's option number 2, the standard Windows, and there's setup starting. Right, so that's a bootable USB. Next time I'm going to show you how to connect to the network and attach, well, mount the share on the server, back on the server. So for instance, you could use this USB to install things, install images from the server, which will guarantee it has the latest image. And we'll do that next time. I look forward to seeing you. Bye.